You guys like Sukamon? Well, it's time for the poo-poo to move out of the way because we got new boogers in town where we have Monzaemon. Alright, for today's matchup, we got a really fun one going on. We have the poops versus the boogers with Numemon versus Sukamon right here. And yeah, this is going to be a fun one. Seeing our opening hand doesn't look too great. We do see our ShinMonzaemons, which is good, but we don't really want to see it that soon. With only 2 other Numemons to work with, we do really ideally want to sort of like build a stack and sort of cycle through that way instead, and then potentially also see multiple level 3s, especially the ones that have security effects specifically, which we're going to see just in a bit right here. So this hand looks way much more promising. Toy Agumon is definitely the one to go to Digivolve, going into Numemon for 1 cost, starting off with the first turn play. This is always most optimal. Now you guys can see that we have Chikurimons on the hand as well, especially the one with the security bomb effect. That one we actually don't really want to Digivolve on top of because we actually want to utilize it. We want to hard play them. We want to have them present on the board somehow and to synergize with our ShinMonzaemon later on, which you guys will get to see once we get into it. We can Digivolve on top of the egg to cycle for cards, but again, like I mentioned, we don't want to be Digivolving on top of it because it's going to be really crucial and it's going to help us a lot. Here is going to be a really fun and interesting matchup overall, just because both the Monzaemon deck and the Numemon deck are fairly control heavy, and so there's gonna be a lot of back and forth right here, which is gonna be fun and totally fine overall. We're gonna continue to build our stack, Digivolving through Numemon and Monzaemon once again, which is honestly fantastic and really memory efficient just because of their low Digivolution costs. And our next priority right now, we're just trying to cycle through ShinMonzaemon as much as we can right here as we're Digivolving. You guys might be able to see that we have a Pride memory boost in our hand as well. At that moment, given this exact turn, they go into their Metal Edimon and get to hard play the King Sukamon, passing back to us, which is where we have a little bit more memory to work with. And I was contemplating if for this coming up turn to whether go into Pride memory boost, but we didn't really want to either, just because we cycled through enough cards that the last thing I want to do and want to see is having my ShinMonzaemon bottom decked via that effect. So what we end up deciding to go through here is we want to go for some offensive plays right off the bat already. We want to chip away their security and give them as little memory to work with as possible. It's totally fine to attack with Monzaemon, which only has 6k DP anyways, because most of their deck has very low DP, and we also have Reboot with Toy Agumon. And I'm not too worried if I lose one of the stacks because then I at least have the other that I can still sort of Digivolve on top of. Right now, we do want to keep our stack as safe as possible. So like I said right here, we do draw into our ShinMonzaemon just like that. And immediately what we're going to do, as you guys can see, we're going to Digivolve into Chikurimon in the bomb, ready in the back as a rookie. But we're not going to Digivolve it any further, so we're going to contemplate what we can do next here. We really want to maximize the value, so we're going to continue to attack and sort of pressure. You know, at the end of the day, we have to pressure and sort of win the game that way, and we're going to pass them back to 2 by hard playing the Chikurimon. Our Monzaemon does get deleted, running into King Edimon, which is totally fine because, again, we have a second one that we can work with in next turn. Right here, you can see our board is very nicely set up because we're going to go for some crazy combos coming in later on, and they don't even know what to expect with ShinMonzaemon, honestly. They realize that they need to pressure back onto us, so they're going to start swinging into us as well, which is totally fine. And here, we are totally good. They go into a King Edimon right here, which is going to be rather problematic because that's one of the cards that's going to slow the game down even further. And at this moment, it only just makes sense to actually go into the ShinMonzaemon anyways and sort of establish our board. And we do lose all our rookies right here, because everything that is level 3 or lower gets shuffled back into the security. Not shuffled back, but gets placed in the top security. You guys can see how we can set up our traps. We set up our bombs right here. And we can just basically put any of these de-Digivolved Chikurimons back to the top of our security in any order we want, disrupting the opponent's play. Now, I haven't really thought too much ahead at this moment, so I'm just gonna do like a security bomb and then a regular card and a security bomb just like that. And with ShinMonzaemon, later on we can attack and we can actually remove the King Edimon as well at the same time, which is really, really good for us there. Apologies here. Ignore what we're doing. We kind of got lost in the sauce. We're just having a conversation and chatting and totally forgot that I actually passed turn already going into ShinMonzaemon, so I should not be able to attack, so we just quickly rewinded that. Good thing that nothing's really changed there on the board, but it would have been nice if we want to swing over the Metal Edamon and then bottom security the King Edamon, clearing their board. That would be really fantastic, but of course we couldn't do it because we didn't have enough memory. We passed back to the opponent's turn right there. But they do know what's incoming. They know that we are going to try and attempt to remove the King Edamon. Again, very important with the ShinMonzaemon that we can only use its secondary effect once because we only have one Numemon source at the moment to really work with. So we have to make it count. And the one that we are trying to get rid of is King Edamon, because King Edamon gives everything Sukamon Edamon related like blocker, and that's not what we want. We need to, of course, pressure and try to win for game, but we are very nice in the security at the moment. We have a ton of security in our stack and bombs set up to really slow down the momentum and the pace of the game, and the situation just looks very great for us overall. So we can just swing and sort of attack aggressively. You guys might notice the promo Dorumon right here as well, and that's also another security rookie card that we can try to play in this deck to synergize with ShinMonzaemon, which we were hoping to see earlier on, but that's totally fine. Setting up the Chikurimon bombs right here is just great because it's just pressuring the opponent at this moment, and if they ever do swing into our first security, it is going to be a bomb that de-digivolves them right there. And we can de-digivolve their Metal Edamon, which is their main like level 6 stack, but they still decide to attack it into it anyways, just because it makes sense. The Metal Edamon is not going to do too much anymore. The Platinum Sukamon can also be problematic because when it gets deleted, they can de-digivolve us. They get to de-digivolve our ShinMonzaemon, which is not a big deal because we got most of our value out of the ShinMonzaemon after all. We did basically everything it could have done. It's practically a 13k vanilla body on the board now. The only benefit we can sort of like get into it is potentially go into a Shine Gray room mode on top of it after, but it's not heavily really needed, especially when it comes to this matchup. So they do find themselves in a secondary King Edamon, which is a really good play on them, just because they can, you know, de-digivolving their Metal Edamon actually worked out for them, because then they can, you know, digivolve back into King Edamon just like that, kind of like swapping a different level 6. Again, a problematic card that we really need to get rid of and sort of address overall. So again, we're going to continue to cycle through now and try to draw cards and try to find our second ShinMonzaemon at this point. It's going to be tough because we only play 4 copies of that, and we don't really have like a secondary level 6 to work with currently in this build. We are, after all, still just playtesting, so we're just going to continue to hard play stuff. And the really unfortunate downside of things, which is surprising, we now actually have no more Digi-Eggs to work with. We only play the 4 Pagumons, and now we can't Digivolve into rookies anymore. So cycling is going to be even harder. So now we're just playing this game of like hard playing stuff. Even the opponent only has 1 Digi-Egg card to work with at this moment. But the game should be ending soon anytime, right? You guys might be thinking. But again, it's a lot of like back and forth here and a lot of thinking. Which is kind of a nice change of pace when it comes to playing this. Setting up double Sukamons on the board is great for them. Now we find our ShinMonzaemon, which is fantastic. But this time, we're just contemplating whether if we should go into like more rookies, level 3s, and set more up and then recover a bunch of them and then do that same combo that we did prior all over again. Or our alternative option right here at this moment, we can actually clear a bit of their board. We can get rid of both their Sukamons right there, which is an option, which we do go for. We know we do have to address the King Edamon at some point. But again, I think, you know, we didn't really... We want to just go for that move and just get rid of their Digimon there. And then maybe, you know, we can just chip away bit by bit and make small attacks here and there after, instead of utilizing ShinMonzaemon's secondary effect to get rid of that King Edamon, knowing that their Platinum Sukamon is just going to de-digivolve us. So there's no, you know, there's nothing really we can do to go around that at this moment. It is kind of a tough situation because now we're both, again, just playing slowly, and yeah, but we do have a second one. No, that's actually Shine Gray Ruin mode on our hand, I believe. So again, we might be waiting for a second one, or we're just trying to establish a wide board, and the wider the board that we can establish, then we can start attacking. But don't worry guys, we do have a backup plan if we can't get rid of this King Edamon, which you guys will see just in a bit. They go into the King Sukamon to turn us into a poop with the yellow Monzaemon right there, so that we can't really go into ShinMonzaemon again, which is fine, because again, we do have some backup plans. The very last card you guys can see, we actually have a Cooties Kick. So we're actually contemplating on whether if we want to use it right here. And we got 2 of them. So even if they have blockers, it's not going to matter to us whatsoever. We're just going to swing immediately and try to search with the Numemon to possibly find our secondary ShinMonzaemon here, and then cycle through, and we gain a ton of memory because of that. And yeah, they just can't stop it at all. We do have a ShinMonzaemon actually in our hand here, but we can't get into it. We do want to get into it on top of the Monzaemon, the yellow Monzaemon. We don't want to go on top of the lower Monzaemon because we don't have a Numemon to utilize off. Now I have so much memory to work with, we're actually just going to hard play this Monzaemon, slide under a Numemon, which is going to give it blocker too, fantastic, and choke the opponent down to 1. So again, we're sitting in a very good position because again, like I mentioned, we have the third ShinMonzaemon we can get into. We can get rid of that King Edimon once again if we need to, and then try to swing for game. Or alternatively, we just need to play some kind of Numemon and then do a Cooties Kick combo once again and, you know, get surprised. But I'm pretty sure the opponent's not going to get surprised at this point anymore, just because they've seen that once. And we're just going to put them down to 1. And they know we probably have another secondary Cooties Kick ready coming in for them, and it does cost 2 memory to play, so they're gonna try their best to choke us back at 1 and not let us use our Cooties Kick. So it became this back and forth game right here. Again, another option, we can go into ShinMonzaemon once again, try to clear a bit of the board, but we're just gonna go and pressure them. We're not gonna hide it at all. We're gonna be like, okay, we're gonna play Izzy right here, set it up. Next turn, we're gonna have to start our turn at 3 memory, and we're just gonna Cooties Kick you, and we're not gonna care about your blockers whatsoever. There is no need to remove their stuff and prolong the game any further because of that. But we have 2 outs in this current board state. And not to mention, the entire time that they're also not trying to swing into us is because they know they're gonna run into the Chikuri Bomb right here, and we're just going to instantly de-digivolve their King Edimon, and once they lose their King Edimon, then everything loses blocker. They try to use their own Cooties Kick right here to make a play and see what they can do. Maybe gain more memory, and maybe they might go into another King Edimon here, but it doesn't really seem like they have it at this moment. And I think this is when we realize, as we're chatting and talking about it, they could have actually went for the King Sukumon and try to swing for multiple checks into the security instead. But they didn't. The other thing they weren't too sure of, I think, is that they don't know that. Well, first of all, our Monzaemon is actually a blocker. That's 7k that can stop their King Sukumon from attacking. Essentially, we can block that attack and the checks won't go through. And secondly, if we Chikuri Bomb their King Sukumon, it will lose all those checks anyways. But you know, they could have played around it, then their King Edimon will actually be staying on the board instead. And yeah, it'll be checking for quite a lot, the King Sukumon right there, because they will have 2 other Sukumons. Other than that, yeah, they will have 2 other Sukumons on the board, and they could have swung for lots of checks there. But here they try to do it, but like we said, we have a Monzaemon, and we're just going to block it, and I don't think they have any way out at this moment anymore. So after a long battle, I don't think they have an access to another King Edimon. They're just going to try and swing and see what we have. We're just going to have another Chikuri Bomb right there, and we're just going to finish it off just like that, with ending the battle of the poops.
Now, what an intense game of boogers versus poops right there. If you guys want to see more gameplay related videos, especially with all of the RB01 decks, definitely check them all out right here. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. You guys have a great day, great night, wherever you are. Be sure to subscribe and turn on that notification bell to stay tuned for the deck profile, and we'll see you guys next time.